Josef Gregory Mahoney joins me now from Shanghai. He's a professor of politics and international relations at East China Normal University. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Elaine.
Well, as we heard, this is the first diplomatic event China has hosted this year and one of the largest in quite some time. What does President Xi hope to accomplish with this summit?
Well, you know, Central Asia is really the starting point of the Belt Road Initiative, which not only expands connectivity in markets for Central Asia and China, it also creates better connections between Central Asia and other parts of the world, and is especially valuable in terms of critical energy and mineral resources that these countries want to sell and that others, including China, want to buy. And keeping in mind, of course, that the Belt Road Initiative has long been one of the cornerstones of President Xi's foreign policy. Now, in short, Central Asia remains one of the biggest, most important regions for the Belt Road Initiative, which is still advancing globally, but likewise, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is also still expanding and has also been a key focal point of President Xi's foreign policy. So in short, stable, secure, and prosperous Central Asia is what President Xi wants. It's good for Central Asia, it's good for China, and good for the rest of the world. Now, for too many decades, Central Asia has been a battleground for hegemony-seeking nations, which contributed to sharp increases in security, including in China, above all in Xinjiang. Consequently, what we see in Xi'an is trying to take a smarter, better approach with everyone at the table, weighing mutual interests and needs. And this is what Beijing is promoting and has been for some time.
You mentioned the security part of this. There's also trade, energy, a lot of shared issues between China and the Central Asian neighbors. Diplomatic ties, a few decades, but really the relationships go much deeper, much longer, many, many centuries.
That's true. You know, the fact is, we have the whole idea of the Silk Road as a historical phenomenon that went through many of these countries in their former political incarnations. And so, you know, this history, of course, is called upon positively as we talk about advancing the new Silk Road or the Belt Road Initiative through this region.
We're hearing now a green Silk Road. China's Belt and Road Initiative celebrating 10 years this year. Do you think this summit is just one way to rejuvenate that, given some of the pandemic delays that we've seen the last 2.5 years?
Well, I think there are two separate points here. The first is that China has become much more engaged and committed to the concept of an ecological civilization, and above all, the need to advance this not just domestically, but globally, and using the Belt Road Initiative as one of the mechanisms for doing this. China is among the most vulnerable countries to climate change, and it understands that it needs to take a leading role in this effort to resist global warming, because we haven't seen this coming from countries like the United States. In fact, the opposite. So that's one issue. The other issue is, yes, to a certain extent, we did see some significant headwinds associated with the pandemic affecting the Belt Road Initiative, but we also saw it continuing to advance and progress. Now, it is natural that on the 10-year anniversary, keeping in mind that President Xi did first introduce the BRI in a visit to Central Asia, that we return to Central Asia and reinvigorate that message as it continues to move forward.
And the China Central Asia Summit getting underway here soon in Xi'an. What will you be looking for, watching for in the coming hours?
Well, you know, there's been a lot of talk about a political document, but no real clear indication what that means yet. I think it's one of the little mysteries that is almost like a clickbait for this summit. So I think everyone is really interested in watching that. One of the things that I'm not concerned about is the narrative that this is somehow a slight to Russia, that keeps referring to Central Asia as Russia's backyard, and that China is trying to displace Russia there. You know, many Central Asians rightly regard this as indicating some sort of Russian possession, but also as a less than important space overall. In fact, Central Asia, as we've already noted, has long been regarded as one of the keys to global security. And as you've noted, for centuries at least, you know, Russia and the old imperial model, and certainly the British played the 100-year game there for control. Now, these are, in fact, independent sovereign countries that also border or nearly border China. So this isn't Russia's backyard. It's a very important place in the world for its own right. But I think the real key here, and you've sort of alluded to this in your lead-in, is that we have seen the United States, although the United States pulled out of Afghanistan and left a mess there. The United States is still trying to play a soft power pressure game in Central Asia. It's also met with the leadership in Washington has met with the leaders of these countries, and this is now a battleground for soft power. And so I think we should see this more as China trying to shore up its own security and interests in Central Asia vis-a-vis the United States instead of competing with Russia.
All right, a lot getting underway in Xi'an here. Professor Josef Gregory Mahoney, thank you so much for joining us from Shanghai. We appreciate it.